everyone. Thank you for coming today. This is Joe Fuoco with APC Integrated. We are an outsourced IT company providing technology solutions through taking complexity and making it simple to use and secured from risk. Today's presentation is on the dangers of BYOD for remote workers. We will discuss the dangers that exist and what to do about them. It's going to be a relatively short presentation, but I welcome questions at the end. There'll be time for Q&A. We also have chat going on, so as I go through the presentation, please feel free to post questions to chat. And here we go. Today's agenda: remote work is no longer what we understood during COVID. I'll explain why and how that's true. I'll present major risks and unseen threats that are a matter of when, not if, they will happen. We'll take a look at vulnerabilities and review some of the real-world consequences that demonstrate a severity of what can happen. Lastly, I'll explain zero trust and why this is the only practical solution today. During COVID, businesses settled for any level of productivity just to keep them going, keep operations in flow. Following this, there was a strong reluctance of returning to the office. That resulted in many people working at home with marginal risks. Businesses at the time pretty much accepted this was the risk that they would tolerate. However, since then, with the proliferation of AI combined with BYOD, bring your own device, the threats are numerous beyond human comprehension. Email phishing, AI-led spear phishing, spoofed websites, tethered devices, making banking and purchases a gateway to employers' ecosystems. All this mandates properly aligning business protections with user devices at home and remote. Home networks are susceptible to internal threats. There's little to no web filtering in place. Rarely is there strong anti-malware protections, and Internet of Things is wide open. Those thermostats, cameras, anything added, it's very rare that the user goes to the effort of securing them. It's normally the case they're happy they just got them working. So there's plenty of vulnerability that exists in the home remote worker space that is not even existent in most cases in the business world. It's difficult to track which groups and individuals are spawning threats because AI is infiltrating home computers to leave bots working in the background. This is what an AI agent does. It sits in the background. This slows the computer, yet makes countless vectors of attack for them while evading protections and the authorities. Outdated OSs and unpatched software. This is a big concern. Most compromises are due to systems not being kept up to date. It's the number one weakness that results in a compromise. And so home users are not as vigilant about maintaining updates to their systems. It's the opposite case for the business world. Everyone now has pretty much gotten the memo. Keep everything updated. Consumer grade protections exist at home. So once again, it's often the case the user buys a simple anti-virus protection product. Maybe this is even a free level. It's not the case they're getting business level endpoint detection and response tools. They're not doing vulnerability remediation. They don't have the protections that exist in their employer's organization. And this makes them a good target for threat actors. We think of this as anything the user can do when they get into the employer's environment, then a threat actor can do that because they're lurking in the background or their AI agent is in the background. So anything the user can get at, so can the bad guys. They know now to target home users. Every day we see articles, things like this, 19 millions, 149 million logins from Roblox, TikTok, Netflix, crypto wallets and things. This is not a title I went searching for to put in this presentation. I see these every day. And so I just picked a day when I was doing the presentation and threw these on my slide. There's something called nitrogen. This is a ransomware item that is so broken, even the crooks can't unlock the files, meaning an AI tool was used to generate this ransomware rogue code, and there was a misstep in the AI instructions. So even the threat actor that had AI create it for them, it can't be decrypted. AI can't decrypt it. Once it's got out in the wild, there's no way, even if the bad guy wanted to say, oh, thanks for paying me the ransom, I'll now unencrypt your files, decrypt your files. It can't be done, even if they wanted to. Um, that's something called Sakari. Can't be decrypted. Today, they're targeting cryptocurrency. So if you have a crypto wallet, digital currency, this has been a very strong push we've seen of threat actors targeting home users for that type of activity. Unseen threats. Windows Home is a good example. Windows Home is an individual consumer grade user operating system. It is not enterprise grade. It does not include the protections and the sophistication that employers need for their environment. It's very simplified. Um, there's no encryption in Windows Home, which all the other versions of Windows for business all come with encryption ability. Just have to turn it on. Can't even be turned on. Doesn't exist in Windows Home. Another, excuse me, another example seen recently is an organization called Shady Panda. And what did they do? They created a Chrome browser extension and made this available through the internet. And I forget what it does, but it was a very simple, valid, legitimate Chrome extension. People use this for 2 or 3 years, no problem. All of a sudden, this group went and injected a credential stealer hook in this tool. So all of a sudden, it's grabbing any sort of usernames and passwords that you would put into your browser if you had this extension there. Now, millions of people had this extension. It was validated as legitimate. Now, due to the company that created this extension just updating it with rogue code, now everyone that assumed it was fine is at risk. And people didn't even know this. At APC, we have our customers using an EDR tool called SentinelOne. SentinelOne would pick this up right away. It would stop it, squash it, prevent it from activating and stealing your username and password credentials. Doesn't exist for home users. Browser-based attacks hit 95% of enterprises in 2025. Because security filters and EDR cannot detect this while firewalls allow traffic, since it was initiated inside the perimeter of the organization, the employer can control browser settings and disallow all but only approved extensions and websites. So what this means is if you're not an APC customer, you don't have SentinelOne, you can at least have your IT department control where your users can get to in the company's web browser and what extensions they can and cannot use. You can put restrictions in place. This is not a thing that home users are thinking about. And the organization can't apply these restrictions to the home user's web browsing ability. They don't control that employer's computer system. The consequences are severe. So, as I mentioned, we see headlines all the time. We see things like browser-based attacks at 95% of enterprises. Chrome store features extensions poisoned with sophisticated spyware, malicious Chrome extensions, etc. Your home computers do not hold the same controls and protections that a organization and business employers systems contain. And This has made small to mid-sized businesses a prime target. 60% that suffer a cyber attack, usually this is ransomware, are shut down within 6 months. They just cannot rebound. 75% of SMBs say they could not continue operating if they were hit with a serious incident. One analysis found 19% of businesses that suffer a major cyber attack end up filing for bankruptcy. It's just that severe to have so much shut down to your operations. Um, I recall an incident. I was on site with a company. This was prior to APC, and it literally took less than 5 minutes for the entire company to come to a screeching halt with multiple locations, simply because one of the executives had typed in a URL that they normally go to, website they often visit, and they mistyped it. And it took them to a site they didn't realize, and bang, the entire company was shut down just like that immediately. What's the business impact? Um, we see Microsoft scrambling to create additional protections. And so um, getting through your web browser using an approval for cameras, microphone, accessing certain apps, and so forth, those controls are there. And Microsoft is working to put similar controls into mobile devices like your cell phone. Unfortunately, this comes with the challenge of if you're using your phone and your face unlocks your phone, well, your face is going to unlock whatever item it is that the threat actor is trying to activate at that given time if your phone has been compromised. So it's a very challenging situation to control. And like I said, this is now amplified by the use of AI. 82% of ransomware attacks in recent years have targeted organizations with fewer than 1,000 employees. So that's the sweet spot the threat actors are going for. Uh, Normally, for a small business that is hit with this sort of thing, $250,000 loss is incurred, uh, sometimes reaching into the millions overall with compromises across all business levels into corporate enterprise. The average is up around 5 million per incident. After a major attack, surviving small businesses often see a 40% average revenue drop and need 12 to 18 months to rebound and recover from those losses. Please take special note of this screen. If you can screen cap it, great. Otherwise, those that are attending today, you'll have access to the recording of the webinar. If you're in one of these sectors, especially manufacturing, healthcare, education, you are a prime target. And again, the point of this presentation is not that you're a prime target simply because your employer is in the healthcare space or education space, but if you have employees working remote, working from home, they are now the prime target to compromise because they're far easier to get into. There are so little protections for the remote and home workers in comparison to what exists for business enterprise organizations that have taken security seriously and put in the compliance controls and the vulnerability remediation that is necessary. Those things are normally non-existent for home users. So this brings us to zero trust, or what we call ZTNA, zero trust network architecture. APC Integrated is partnered with a company called Temis. Temis has purposely created a zero trust client for managed services providers like APC. It was purpose built for MSP. And what does that mean? Well, they understand that MSPs work with many different customers, accessing many different environments of multiple organizations on a continual basis, 24/7. And so that mandates having far stronger protections in place for that type of business practice. And so it secures us as an MSP, but it also secures our customers. Our APC private cloud space, we recommend to all our customers using this, we insist really, that they get TMIS Zero Trust in place so that that level of security is there for them as well as us. And what is Zero Trust? It's taking your computer off the internet. Well, Joe, what do you mean taking off the internet? That means it can't do anything. No, what it means is it's isolated. It's kind of tucked in an envelope. So that the only thing it's going to do is access that secure environment. And now the same level of protections, the same data controls, compliance, et cetera, that are built for that organization now apply to that endpoint. That remote worker computer is now participating in that ecosystem in the most secure fashion possible because it's persistently checking, normally with a VPN, or if you're doing, say, log me in, remote access to a computer, that's just a gateway to get you in. Once you connect, username, password, there you go, off you go, do whatever you need to. Zero trust is a whole different ballgame. This is constantly checking you are who you say you are. Once you sign in to Zero Trust, it's making sure that your authentication remains the same. It hasn't changed. It's making sure that you're participating with that same device. So it's constantly checking you are you, constantly checking your device and kind of isolating you to that employer's secure environment, not letting any sort of crossover for that remote workers' home computing environment. So that's what Zero Trust does. Replaces VPNs, persistent identity checking. We use it at APC Integrated. That's how we connect to our APC cloud space. And at this date and time, this is the most secure, this is the best practice and security configuration you can have for remote workers connecting to the employer's organization. We strongly recommend it. If you're in one of those spaces I mentioned on that slide that showed the targeted sectors, healthcare, construction, education, you need to be using Zero Trust network architecture for your remote workers. So all of the organizations that have BYOD, that is who's being targeted. We strongly recommend you think about getting Zero Trust for those employees. And that's it. We can do Q&A at this time. I threw some questions up here. What are the critical concerns that I skipped over? Well, one of them is what people do at home on their free time with those same computers. It's their computer, where they go on the internet, what they do, what lands on their computer. Let your imagination run wild. Those are the sort of things that not generally happening on a business computer. And so that's an elevated risk. Is there any level of protection APC can provide where Zero Trust is not used? Yes, absolutely. APC can apply the same protections that are in place for our customers on the organization endpoints, those same agents, those same anti-malware uh, tools that we have in place for all our APC customers. We can put those on the employee's computers. Of course, the employee has a consent to that, and there is a cost for doing that, but that can be done. We strongly recommend doing that if you're not going to go the TMIS Zero Trust route. What does APC do regarding remote workers? APC has a strict non-bring your own device policy. We just don't do it. No one at APC uses their own computer to access our environment, our systems, and therefore they don't access our customer systems. It's always secured with our own endpoint protections, Zero Trust. We just don't allow one of our employees' random computer that they happen to use to get into our environment and therefore get into our customer environment. Are there any questions that are out there that we could go over, we can address for everyone's benefit? I3 is it. That's how good I am at this. All right. So that's it. I want to thank you for coming. I promise it would be short. I hope I didn't take up much of your time. Thank you for doing this. I hope you visit more APC webinars in the future. And like I said, this recording will be available to everyone that attended today. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye now.